trust yourself. You need to trust that things around you look a certain way, but that doesn't mean it's true. Because perception is everything. But you need to be delusional because you can accomplish anything. You just don't think it's possible because of programming that you had. So, at the end of the day, when you have a confirmation, you know that's what you're supposed to do. But then when you have the opposite of a confirmation, a disturbance, there's a reason that didn't happen. To show you something that you need to think about. Some people think things on this planet are really important, but in the whole big theme of what's going on, it's a small little picture of what's happening. And I think that's the interesting part of what's going on, is somebody will tell you their opinion, and this is what you need to do, and if you don't do that, then you're not doing the right thing. But what makes them so righteous? Because somebody told them that they're righteous, or some belief system that they have that makes them feel righteous. I think that's what's important, is realizing you need to feel confident, comfortable in your own skin. And sometimes you're going to be in situations where you're like, I don't like this feeling. I don't like what's going on around me. Hello. But I think that's the beauty of it, is realizing that there are certain people in your life that are only good for a season. They're only supposed to be a part of your life for a season. So if that's a day, 5 years, a week, there's an important factor of that important thing, realizing what's important in that moment, what's important in that situation. Because something might be really important right now, but a year from now isn't important anymore. Like things when you were little, you were just so dogmatic about it. Now that you're older, you're like, okay, that little kid was valid. Because in that moment, he felt like he wasn't being heard or listened to. That's why he got a temper. But now that you're older, it doesn't really matter. Because people are going to disagree with you. They might even call you stupid. And then you have to have the strength or the wisdom to know that they think you're stupid. That's only a perception of what they think of themselves. People will project on you all day long. But when you can see what is true and what is a lie, it really doesn't matter. And I think that's the beauty of it, is realizing sometimes people will say things and you're like, that's not really relevant. You scheme of things, you might think it's important. What if it's not? What if it's so much bigger than that and they can't see it? And I think that's the beauty of it, is realizing that sometimes people around you won't understand what you're doing. They'll actually think what you're doing is dumb. But there's a point of knowing in the fiber of your being that you're doing what's right. What's important. And then realizing why it's important. And some people won't understand. And that's alright, because they don't need to understand, because it's not their chapter of the life. It's not their chapter. Because you can't make everybody happy around you. There's going to be people that are going to say, what the fuck are you doing? And you have to say, kind of none of your business. Because my life, I don't need to tell you what I'm doing. I can give you a perception of what I'm doing, but in all reality, you might not know everything that's going on behind the scenes. And that's what some people need to understand, is life is what you decide it can be, not what somebody else can decide what it can be. Because half of the stuff that you see around you is just pop propaganda. It's not even real. There's a reason they call it programming or televising, because they're showing you an agenda. It's an agenda